Welcome everyone, I am Evan Dulaney alongside here with Brandon Saho, and this is Bearcat Blitz.
Bearcast Media's Bearcat Blitz is back for the 2015-2016 season. Follow Evan and Brandon as they discuss the ins and outs of everything red and black.
So, last week UC suffered its first loss of the season, a 34-26 defeat at the hands of the Temple Owls, a conference opponent. It was an early struggle for the Bearcats on offense, defense, and special teams. Brandon, what exactly went wrong for the Bearcats?
Well, if you ask head coach Tommy Tuberville, the first thing he said in his post-game press conference was the third quarter. The Bearcats simply didn't show up to play in the third quarter. The opening kickoff for the second half, Temple returned for a touchdown, and then the ensuing kickoff was an onside that Temple recovered. Also, Gunnar Keel threw 4 interceptions. 2 of those were tipped balls by guys that normally make those catches.
Yes, Mikael McKay and Max Morrison, who struggled early in both games with drop passes and incompletions, were the cause of those 2 interceptions. And it's a very unnatural sight for Bearcat fans to see this reliable receiving corps not making these catches from such a high-profile quarterback. But the Bearcats want to forget about this game and move on to their next opponent, a big rivalry up north against Miami.
Yeah, that's right. This is the Victory Bell rivalry, which is actually the oldest rivalry on this side of the Mississippi. UC taking on the Miami Redhawks in Oxford this Saturday at 3:30. Now, the UC defense will be tested again. A kid I actually went to high school with at LaSalle, Drew Coomer, is a starting quarterback for Miami. UC, though, has won most of these games in the last 10 years. I think about 7 or 8 straight for the Bearcats. Tuberville said in his luncheon press conference this week, this is Miami's Super Bowl. Now, I talked to a couple players up at Miami, and they weren't too excited hearing that from Tuberville, so I'm sure that they'll be fueled up for this game. Moving on to week 4 for the Bearcats. That's going to be in Tennessee against a pretty good offense in the Memphis Tigers.
Yeah, it's a big test for the UC defense. Memphis has scored over 55 points in both their games. However, their opponents have not been high-ranked college teams. Nonetheless, scoring that much in NCAA Division I is a big accomplishment. It's going to be tough for the Bearcats to shut down that Memphis defense. Very potent in the American Athletic Conference. But the big game everyone's looking forward to, and it's been on the schedule for a long time now, October 1st against the U, Miami, Florida. What's that going to be like?
Yeah, he said the U. Everyone knows this is one of the nation's most historic and successful programs in college football. This atmosphere will be electric. It is homecoming at UC. The Bearcats will host this on ESPN, as you said, October 1st against Miami on a Thursday night. Now, the Hurricanes don't have Duke Johnson anymore. He's now playing for the Cleveland Browns. You'll remember last year, Miami scored in Miami more than 50 points on the Bearcats. The defense was tested, and they'll be tested once again this year against a young sophomore quarterback.
Yes, Brad Kaya for the Miami Hurricanes has had a solid start to the season, 460 yards with 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a 63% completion percentage. He had a great true freshman season last year. Without Duke Johnson, it might be a little difficult for him to not go back to his safety net. But it's going to be another big test for the Bearcats defense, probably facing the best quarterback so far of this season.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. You know, you have the game at Memphis, which is going to be a Thursday night on ESPN. Then the Miami game on ESPN Thursday night at home. Then they go out west on the road to a team like BYU, who, if you remember, had that incredible Hail Mary win against Nebraska in Week 1. That was crazy. I haven't seen anything like that in Week 1 in a long time. But yeah, 3 games which give UC the potential for, of course, what's on everyone's mind, the chance to hop to the ACC or the Big 12 conference realignment. People are going to be watching all around the country, so it'll be cool and fun to watch UC over the next 4 weeks.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Brandon, thank you for joining me.
Sure, yeah, and go Bearcats. We'll see you here next week on Bearcat Blitz.
Thanks for tuning in.